welcome to Slightly Off Script.
To Slightly Off Script. Give it some emphasis.
Welcome to Slightly Off Script.
No.
This is what happens when you try and script me.
I didn't need to script you. I just needed you to do it better.
Story of my life. That's the words of encouragement. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be better.
Just better.
All right. Do I just start, or is there going to be like?
Do you want me to do the music? I can
is
do
there
the
going to
music.
be music?
I can do the music. Are you ready for this? Let's count down. We'll do like 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Slightly Off Script, where we're here to remind you that marriage can be stupid good and wicked fun. I'm Bethany Needham, here with my co-host, Andy Needham.
Hey, Bethany.
Hey. Welcome to the show.
That was the best intro we've ever done.
Literally, probably top 3 best.
We practiced that for at least a minute.
By practice, you mean I did it and you're like, be better.
No, that's not how that went.
But we'll call it practice.
We'll fight about that later. That's fine. So, what is the story? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we here?
Oh, so much. Okay, first of all, we're here because we're married. So that's, to me, probably baseline. So we've been having a lot of conversations lately about marriage, and we're in kind of this weird, crazy transition in life right now where we have launched, at least for now, both of our babies, and it's you and I, like 24/7.
Well, when you say babies, for those who don't know us, we didn't launch babies. They have grown.
No, they are my babies.
They are your babies, but they are now young adults.
They are grown babies.
Yeah. Good editing. Grown bottom babies.
Yes. Grown babies out in the world. So we, just the two of us, been spending time together. And it's interesting. This is one of those, I feel like, seasons in life where people have a lot to say about it. And not all bad. It's kind of all over the map. And I find that most places we go, the first thing people are like, so you're empty nesters now. And I always feel like there's something behind that for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I think, though, we've said this so many times. And, for those listening, no matter what phase you're in of life, it feels like there's a truth. Every transition has that, right? So we have often said, like, when we were dating, people are like, enjoy your dating because once you get engaged, and then play that forward for every single milestone, marriage, pre-babies, whatever, young kids. And part of what we've discovered is that every season of life and every season of marriage has its unique privileges and its unique challenges. And that's part of what we want to talk about in these conversations that we're going to have.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things for me unique to this time in our marriage is we have gotten to this place now where coming up on 22 years of marriage, which in the grand scheme, I mean, I know people who have been married much longer, but I'm finding that in more and more conversations with people who are either younger married or maybe same age, but just not as many years, we've entered that phase of, so tell me, like almost, what is the wisdom? What is something you've learned? Which I always feel super old when those conversations start. But as this season has happened, is I've thought a lot. I don't know if it's just with our kids heading off to college and making me extremely sentimental and thinking through things. There's just been a lot of different things in this season that have made me incredibly grateful for our marriage and just the gift that it is. And also, I think a humble, I don't know even the right word for it, but it's been humbling because I know that the gift that our marriage is did not come easy. Like this required, it took work. And I say a lot to people, I literally have it tattooed on my arm, by the grace of God. Like I just feel that very strongly right now at this point in our marriage.
Yeah, having a rich marriage is not cheap. It comes at a high cost, and we're going to share some of those stories over the course of the episodes that we go through. And one of our commitments to each other to every time we have any platform is to find ways to be authentic, to put Christ at the center of everything that we do, but to share our story and to be able to share some of our weaknesses, which we'll do. But we're also going to have some fun. And so we were thinking about, this is sort of a test episode, partially for me to be able to figure out how all the technology works and see how that's going. And we are going to have a launch episode coming in November, and we're going to be very consistent, where our goal is weekly episodes. A couple different things that we still want to make interviews a part of it. Bethany has done incredible work in the podcast space with interviews, and so that'll be an element of that. But then we're also going to do a lot of things together in this, and we want to engage the listening audience with questions that you might have, and we have some really creative ways that we want to engage that as well. So before we get into what we're going to do today, I just want to say one of our goals is to make this sort of a video forward. We're still going to release on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the different channels. We have some real great imagination for what this could be, though, in a video space. And one thing that we need a little bit of help with is to continue to build on our YouTube subscriptions. And so if you want to do a simple thing you can do for free to help us continue to build that, is just to subscribe on our YouTube. We'll put a link in the show notes for that. So what are we going to do today, Bethany?
I thought, if I'm correct, we're going to ask just a couple of questions of each other, but as a kind of a little being off script. We don't have a script. I know what I want to ask you. You know what you want to ask me, but we don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that as someone who likes to prepare?
I feel great because I'm the editor.
Touche. All right. Fair enough. Then I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. We said we'd do a serious question and a funny question, and we probably will be serious and funny in both of them, but we'll figure that out. So my serious question to you are the name of our podcast is Slightly Off Script. And I think that when I think about the scripts that we think about, the narratives that we play out in marriage, is there something that you are familiar with, whether it's in your own story or something that you hear commonly about marriage that you feel like is a bad script, sort of a lie, a deception, maybe a cheapening of marriage, and something that you would say is a bad script of marriage?
Ooh, this is a good question.
Thank you.
You should do interviews.
Best one yet.
Best one. All right. Okay, I'm just going to give you the first one that comes to mind. We have talked about this frequently, but I think in terms of the scripts that I hear that are assigning certain parts of marriage, roles, even just expectations based on gender. And I'll be specific with that. Like, I hear a lot of narrative, depending on where you look. I'll jump to the Disney Channel narrative because that one drives me the most crazy. I feel like there's this Disney Channel narrative where in marriage, the husband is an idiot and the wife basically knows better than anyone. And it's something about that rubs me, probably because, not that I'm an idiot, but in our marriage, I was like, my husband has way more together than I do most of the time. But I just think there's a lot of those things, and I've experienced this in our marriage. I'm sure we'll talk about this more in our show moving forward, but I think that the narrative that as the woman that these are the things that you're supposed to do, these are the things that he's supposed to do, I think that has been something that has, I think, robbed joy from some marriages. And I also think it's something that for me, I had to fight for a long time as we sort of found our rhythms, and not the sort of that narrative, but who has God created us to be and how has he designed us to actually fit together. And that has not always, and actually often doesn't fit sort of that whatever masculine feminine narrative, especially when we order out. And you tend to be the salad and I tend to be the steak and potatoes. And every time, without fail, the poor waiter.
Well, now we order out when we're at a restaurant.
Yeah, but they like put your food in front of me and my food in front of you. And that always cracks me up. So
that's a good example. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Do I get to ask my serious question?
Yes, but I'm going to ask that you not rove around the microphone like crazy. You got to get the thing a little closer to your face.
I'm sorry. I'm used to looking at who I'm talking to. I feel like
you could readjust the microphone a little bit. There you go.
like that.
Maybe it might be blocking the video, but oh well, that's all
I
right.
do
That's
feel like
fine.
it's blocking the video
That's okay.
now. Guys,
Just be closer to it.
it's gonna just do better. Okay. So my serious question, I feel like my questions are not going to be as good as yours, but here they go. When you think over our marriage from when we first were married to now, what is something that you see as being one of the most transformational parts of our marriage, meaning it doesn't look anything like it did when we first got married?
That is a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's a lot of things I would think about. It should be that way. I think marriage should change. Like we should be growing as individuals into the likeness of Christ and seeing our lives changed. And in the same way, our marriage should transform at the same time. So I don't think that's that's a great thing, man. To think of a good example predominantly. I don't know. I do think there's been a tempering. I think when we first met each other, like it was the archetype was sort of like you were the hyper social and I was the hyper introvert in that era. And I feel like we have really met in the middle on that. And at times almost crossed over. I feel like we still probably live, like I would say, I'm still somebody what I've had to learn is that, and the difference between extrovert and introvert is really where you get your energy, right? It's not whether you like being around people or not. But I have learned how to create space by myself and found incredible joy. And a lot of the work that I've gotten to do is connecting with people and serving people. And I love that way more than I would have ever imagined if you'd asked 21-year-old Andy that. And at the same time, I think for you, and part of it, again, we met and we got married. You would have been going to your second year of college and instead you were putting on a dress and getting married. So it was partially that era of life. I mean, you were just the social butterfly and the life of the party. And I think that's still, that thread still exists within your personality, but I don't think that it's something that has to define you in every single moment. I think it's a big change.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Oh, yeah. I would say that you are way less socially awkward and I am more socially
I don't know
awkward.
about that.
And we have found a happy middle.
That's good. That's good. All right. So are we moving on to funny questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Lay it on me.
So let me tell you what I was going to ask you, and then I'll give you the real question, because we'll probably talk about the other thing later when we talk about quirks. But I was going to ask you about your sneeze, which was something we will talk about and try to figure out what's wrong with it at some other point. But
I feel like that's not funny. That's rude.
okay, well, that's probably okay. Well, we'll figure that out. But that's not my question. So good news. All right. One of our favorite things to do almost every summer is to watch 90s blockbuster movies.
Ooh.
If you had to pick like 1 to 3, you can do anyway. You can just say 1 if you're like, man, this is the one. Or if you want to pick 3 that you're like rewatchable. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. And they could be like classic movies, or they could be like ones that people don't always watch.
Man. Okay. This is hard only because these are my fave. So but I get at least up to 3. Okay. I'm going with, these are not going to be in order. They're just the order that they came into my head. Along Came a Spider, one of my faves. Speed, another one of my faves. And, oh gosh, only one more. Okay. There's a million I could think of, but I think just because of the blockbuster that came out this summer, Twister is in my brain.
Okay,
So
fair
I'm gonna put Twister because I actually liked the newer one too.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
That's
Just
great.
saying.
Awesome. That is a tradition that we just do pretty much every summer. We're kind of like what movies came out in the 90s or early 2000s. Sometimes we stretch that a little bit further on. But.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to beat when we had the in-ground pool and we put the TV, brought the TV out and you can watch Jaws while you're floating in the pool. I'm just saying, it's like a whole experience. All right, I got my question. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
I was given parameters, and so that eliminated basically everything except for this question, which is looking back over probably more early relationship, early marriage, what first did we experience that you would qualify as the most cringe-worthy or awkward? A first that you would say, yep, that was pretty awkward.
Well, I think I know where your mind is going, and I will concur on that.
Do
which
you?
is that I think so. Like, our first kiss was terrible, so we've gotten much better with practice.
Oh,
You were we were in that True Love Waits era, which that's a whole thing, and yeah, and you did not want to. You kind of wanted to Joshua Harris to not kiss until, and I did not agree, and somehow it was awkward. I don't know.
yeah. I remember being very mad at you.
Yeah,
That's probably not a good response
This
to a
sounds
first
like
kiss.
I basically attacked you.
You did not attack me, but I was still very mad.
I'm gonna get canceled in the first episode.
Oh, just keeping it real. It's fine.
Just remember, her favorite movie is A Long Game of Spider, and she likes to listen to like murder podcasts. So I keeps me on my toes. So would that have been what you would have answered?
Yeah, I just wanted to leave it open because
Oh, yeah.
you said it couldn't be awkward.
Which of my traumas caused by you is your favorite?
If you can list 1 to 3.
Specifically ones that involve like your face, my face.
It's fine. It's fine. Everybody's fine.
Okay. Well, I guess we have some things to talk about between episodes, and we are going to keep working on this. We may be back with a few other teasers, but stay tuned. Again, if you could follow us on all the socials, Instagram. We now have a TikTok. I never thought that day would come, but somebody told me that was important.
We have a TikTok?
We do. Yes, we do.
Can we learn to dance?
I don't know. That's probably for a different
I think our
platform
kids
or
would cancel
whatever.
us.
I don't know. I don't know much about it, but we have one. And then again, YouTube, if you go and search, it'll be in the notes, but give us a subscribe there. Anything else you want to say?
No. It's been fun.
It's been fun.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
Did we live up to stupid, good, and wicked fun?
It's been that way in my heart.
Okay.
I don't know how it was for them, but for me, it was a good time.
You can let us know.
Let us know in the comments.
Take care.